Hi, everyone, and welcome to Expert Insights on Buildings Canada. We're doing live interviews at the building show here on the show floor. And with me, I have Samantha, who just finished doing her session on the changes of accessibility code to the Ontario Building Code. Thank you very much for being here, Samantha.
Thank you for having me.
So the first question that I have for you is, what are the major accessibility amendments to the 2015 Ontario Building Code?
Just to back up 1 second. So the actual accessibility amendments that came or were adopted by the code is actually the 2012 Ontario Building Code. These accessibility amendments came into effect as of January 1st, 2015. Some of these accessibility amendments, without going into all of them, major one would be providing a barrier-free path of travel between floor levels of the majority of stories. Previously, it was never specified what buildings required elevators between floors or a barrier-free path of travel to get from one story to the other. So now, most buildings, unless exempted, are required to be provided with a barrier-free path of travel, which would otherwise require an elevator to each floor level. The second one would be doors, vestibules. Door clearances were previously 850 millimeter wide clearances, so you measure a clear width from the interface of the door to the interface of the latch side. That has increased 10 millimeters, so now we're not getting away with a 915 millimeter door anymore, and we have to increase to a 930 millimeter door in most cases. Vestibules, entrance vestibules, or vestibules serving washrooms. Previously, you only required 1,200 millimeters in between two doors in series. Now you require 1,500 millimeters. And where the doors are not in series of one another, so they're perpendicular or not aligned, you now have to accommodate for a 1,500 millimeter turning circle. So that could take up a lot of space at the entry into your building or in a washroom. Also, hotels. All your barrier-free designated hotel suites now have to be equipped with a power door operator, which could be an extra expense to the owner or client. Within that barrier-free designated hotel room has to be a bathroom. The bathroom requirements were still fairly large within a hotel suite. However, now they've increased to almost be similarly designed to that of a universal washroom, so incorporating a 1,700 millimeter turning circle, for example. On that topic of universal washrooms, the rumor is true. Universal washrooms did get much larger, which means adding space for an adult-sized change table unless you are otherwise exempted under 38312 sentence 6. So not only do you have to provide for a larger turning circle, 1,700 millimeters within a universal washroom, you now have to provide for an unobstructed space for the adult-sized change table, as well as once it's installed, provide space for the caregiver and the person on that change table possibly. Other than that, when it comes to assembly seating areas, so your theaters, stadiums, etc., not only do you have to provide space for designated wheelchairs, you also have to provide designated spaces for adaptable seating. Adaptable seats are the seats that you would find along aisleways, or they are supposed to be required along an aisleway. They are to be maneuverable so that you have an adjustable armrest or a removable armrest so that somebody can be accommodated for or make a side transfer onto the seat. These are also really awesome for a senior, someone with lower stamina, so that way they know that they have a designated seat that's right off the aisle rather than having to climb over a bunch of people to get inwards. When it comes to pools, previously you only required a barrier-free path of travel up to the water. Now you actually require a barrier-free path of travel into the water, which means public pools and spas, if there's more than one, are required to be provided with access by either a ramp, a lift, or a transfer wall if serving a spa. So those, I would say, is a recap of the major accessibility amendments to the Ontario Building Code.
Very interesting. And so do you foresee any sort of major issues with people having to install these new amendments or the retrofits or renovations that they need to do?
So the Ontario Building Code is not retroactive in that if you have an existing building, you don't just need to update your building to comply with the code. However, when it does come to an extensive renovation or a new build, then yes, these could have implications because now the designer, the architect, or the engineer has to accommodate for space and design with a more accessible mind in thought. So that means you now have to, in a smaller building, let's say, that's over 300 square meters, so you're not exempt from providing an adult-sized change table within the universal washroom. You could have a 350 square meter building, and now you have to reduce the actual leasable space by adding a universal washroom, also accommodating for a barrier-free path of travel between floors. So that means accommodating for an elevator, an elevator machine room, on top of your required exit stairs. By that point, you're now looking at a much more reduced floor area to build or design within.
Very interesting. And actually, Samantha, that's actually all the time that we have for today. Thank you again for coming in to speak with me.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
And thank you to CMD for letting us host these interviews in their booth. And for everyone that is watching at home, if you like this video, remember to subscribe to our Buildings Canada YouTube channel. We will be releasing more videos as the year goes on. Thank you so much, and see you again.